You want to play it that way, Cerritos? I know another way, because I know you like you should know me.
Access denied.
Oh, no. This can't be happening. First I get kicked off the Titan, then the Cerritos doesn't even know me anymore. Where do I belong? Oh.
Come on, Brad. This is your home. You're right where you belong.
Then why am I gonna die in a Jeffries tube?
You're not. You are Brad Boimler, and you've been in tougher spots than this. Now open up a panel and start figuring out a solution.
You're right. Thanks, Tom Paris.
I am a little worried about the fumes in here, though.
Personal log. I'm trapped because of a computer glitch. Or perhaps it is I who is the glitch.
Personal log cannot be recorded.
Ah, I'm gonna die and it's all because of this stupid plate!
Don't do it, Bradward! Not the plate!
Huh? Oh, God. Oh, no. I do exist! Tom Paris!
Kazon!
Tom Paris, can I just say that I'm a really huge fan and I will play for you?
Welcome everybody to Deep Space Pride, a gay Star Trek podcast. My name is Mike. I am one of your co-hosts, and with me is Johnson, our other co-host.
Your other co-host.
Yes.
Hi, Mike.
On yours, ours. How are you?
Hi. I'm good. But I'm tired. How are you?
I'm good as well. It is, it's September.
That's right. Oh my gosh. The year is like basically over.
I mean, it's 2/3 over. Where did 2021? You know, have you been having any trouble like realizing that this is 2021?
No.
No.
I
feel like when people talk about what year it is, I want to say it's not 2020, but I also suddenly want to jump to saying it's 2022, and I do not know why.
Oh my God, that's weird.
It's like this weird time warp that I'm in, but
if it's already 2022, I am already 40, and that is not true. Because I'm not 40 yet. I'm 39. So there we are.
For a total of 4 more months.
That's correct. Thank you.
Yes.
Not dead yet.
You're not gonna die after you turn 40.
I think I read this article. I think it was on Toll Road or something. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's a LGBTQ site. But it was basically saying how, and this is like years ago, so I don't know if it's true anymore, but they were basically saying, yeah, when you're 40 in the LGBTQ community, you're basically dead.
It's
basically RIP. So
it used to be 30, so people thought that gay dead was 30, and now I think it's 40. But
now it got pushed up to 40. So,
but I don't.
So I'm lucky, I guess.
You're still alive.
Still alive.
I mean, I'm alive, and I am over 40. So,
well,
I don't know.
Debatable.
Oh, really?
Just kidding. Continue your thought. What were you saying before?
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh, 2022. That's right. We're not there.
Yeah, no. I can't. It's hard to grasp the fact that it's 2021. I don't know why. For me, I don't know. But the year, you're right. The year is almost over. We're entering fall. Kids are going back to school.
I love fall. It's my favorite season.
Why is it your favorite season?
The air is crisper. I like that it's a little bit cool, but not too cool. It's not too humid. The leaves start turning. You have the holidays to look forward to. There's a lot going on, I think, in the fall that makes it a fun season. Do you not like the fall?
No, I actually don't mind the fall. I just prefer the summer. I mean, because it gradually gets darker.
I understand.
That's one of the things that I don't like. We're in a month and a half, it'll be like 5:30 and it'll be dark outside. Correct. And that I do not like.
I understand.
So that's part of it. Yeah, I don't mind the slightly cooler weather. I'm pretty happy around 75, 65, 75 degrees. So,
Okay.
but once it starts dipping back down to the 50s and you have to wear a coat, and for me, I have to wear a hat because I'm
Yeah,
bald.
I don't
So,
love needing to take out like my Canada Goose jacket. It's like there's no
right.
need. It's like,
Yeah.
do I need to be this bundled up? But it's fine.
But it is fall. Kids are going back to school. Although in New York City, they don't really go back for another until the 13th.
I don't know.
Yeah. So it's
I don't have kids.
well, I don't have kids yet either, but I know people who have kids and
I don't
school.
pay attention to those people. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I have friends who have children.
Yes,
Children are
you
great.
do.
Yes, children. I
Yes,
love children.
you have friends who have kids, and you'll have another friend who has kids eventually too.
I guess so.
Well, if you live that long, if
Yeah,
someone,
it's hard
if
to
we don't
say.
kill you first, or
Who knows? what's
or
gonna
you
happen.
die the gay death.
Yes.
One or the other. But no, it's a lot of kids are going back to school. I'm seeing a lot of first day of school pictures on Facebook, that sort of thing. So it's definitely fall is sort of arriving. Although we've still got 3 weeks of official summer still. So it's not quite over. And typically in New York City, we do get some sort of Indian summer in October at some point.
I know October can be kind of warm.
It can be.
It can be
Well,
kind of
for like a
muggy.
week, and then it gets cold again.
Yeah,
It's not like the whole month of October is warm. But
I
anyway.
understand. Anyway,
But yeah, we're in the last third of 2021, and
almost there.
we're almost to another new year, and it feels like these last couple of years have just we started recording this podcast in March of 2021, and here we are, September of 2021, still recording.
I think you
Coming
said.
up on
I think
our-
you said March 2021. March 2020. We started recording March 2020.
Yes, no, I said March 2020.
We'll need to go back and inspect. I thought you said March 2021.
No,
confused.
I said no. So we've been doing this for a while.
It has
But
been a
our
while.
official 1 year anniversary is coming up in a couple weeks. So
Right. And we are in the works in terms of figuring out what we're going to do to make that special for everyone.
yes.
So TBD,
exactly.
to be
TBD.
determined.
Speaking of special, and going into our next segment.
I don't understand the segue at all.
And you people, you're all astronauts on some kind of Star Trek.
Just go with me.
Speaking of special, all right.
Yes,
continue.
I mean, speaking of something special, we got a early peek at the Star Trek Prodigy opening. So that was special, right? That was unexpected. Especially, I was surprised Star Trek Day is in a week.
I know. I don't know why they decided to release it early, but sure. I mean,
Yeah, sure.
I'll take it.
Yeah. So I've watched it a couple of times. You had texted me right after, like, I'd just finished watching the first time, and obviously I'd missed a lot, and I've watched it subsequently and seen some outlines of what is actually in the trailer. But what did you think of the trailer, or the not even the trailer, the opening?
The
sequence?
opening. Yeah, I liked it. I thought it looked very slick. I love the focus on the ship flybys. I mentioned to you that it definitely reminded me first of Discovery, the Discovery opening. Obviously, Discovery opening is very different stylistically. It's blueprints. It has this very specific palette, but the thematic elements that they weave in, where you see outlines of people, faces, like close up of an eye, things like that, is very Discovery. Like Discovery actually has that one scene where you see the eye and the ship flies by, and here we have the same thing. So there were definitely elements of it. And then you mentioned that it reminded you of Voyager. After you mentioned that, I was like, oh yeah, like I can see that too.
Yeah, it does more of the ship flybys through different regions of space. obviously, which also, I mean, Lower Decks does that as well. So it's very, sort of reminiscent of Lower Decks even, but we're a little bit older Star Trek fans, so we think further back. But yeah, I thought it was really great. Obviously,
It's long, by the way. It's over a minute. I was
it's
like,
minute 34.
I was like, that's a long intro.
That is a long intro. And I didn't catch I didn't pick up until like my third or fourth viewing that it was Janeway was the last image that you see.
Yeah, I didn't catch that either until someone mentioned it because I couldn't really tell. But I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I can see it now.
Yeah, I can see it. And then there's also potentially a new badge that they fly through. The ship flies through. If you look,
I saw the comm badge. Is it new?
It looks new. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe. I mean,
I need to look at it again. I watched it twice.
But Michael Giacchino, I don't know. I forget.
Giacono. I have no idea.
I don't know.
I thought
Actually,
it was Giacono.
Well,
it's spelled like Giacchino. It's like Frappuccino, but not. There's a GIA in front, and then there's Kino. Something.
Giacchino. Yes, I went. I actually started following.
I was the closest.
You win.
Yes,
I found him. I found him on Instagram. I couldn't believe I wasn't following him already, but he does say last name is pronounced Giacchino. So,
all right, now we know. You learn something new every single day.
Yeah. So he composed it. I thought it was really great. So you made a comment that you didn't think it was very catchy. I've listened to it a couple of times, and I think there's some catchiness to it.
It doesn't have, to me, obviously music, the perception of music is subjective. It didn't really, I think the Discovery, and I know you're not a big fan of this Discovery theme song. I actually think the Discovery theme song is catchier than what we got for Prodigy, personally. So it was good. It wasn't bad, but to me, it was kind of just like, it's background music.
Okay. I mean, I liked it, and I
didn't hate it.
The Discovery theme has grown on me significantly. But yeah, I do like these more orchestral, bigger feeling.
The Discovery theme is very orchestral.
I guess bigger and bolder, just
not enough trumpets, maybe. You like trumpets?
Maybe there's not
Discovery uses a lot of strings, so I don't know.
Yeah, so does Picard. So it's
I hate the Picard song, the Picard theme. It's like
I'm not a fan. I'm not a huge fan of it either. But anyway, this theme is, I think, really really good. I think it's classic Michael Giacchino. So I'm excited to. I'm wondering if he's also gonna do all of the episodes as well. Like if
it's a lot of work. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. So
what did you think of the Protostar?
Love the ship.
The ship is cool.
Super, like that third nacelle coming out of nowhere.
Yeah, it definitely had very like Voyager vibes with the moving nacelles, and then you have like the third
nacelle that.
Future Enterprise D deal where it goes into Slipstream or something. Or other.
Yeah. So
or Transwarp, whatever, one of those things, maybe.
It's I believe it's Slipstream, but
okay, one fake thing versus another fake thing. Sounding very well.
These are not fake. It's real. This is real.
It's all real. Transwarp. Okay.
Yeah, no, I think the ship's going to be great. I think it's beautiful. I loved the opening. I thought it was really great. And
no, it's good.
And once you start realizing that
it makes me more excited for the show.
Yeah, and once you realize that it is all the characters that they're sort of flying through, like I didn't realize that, so I actually found a Twitter link that told you what each character was, and I had a couple of them mixed up. I didn't really think that they were all in the order that they were. So
oh, you mean the close-ups?
Yeah, the characters are, as the ship flies through the.
Oh yeah, so it was hard to tell. Like some of them,
Yeah.
it was like too close up. So I mean, I think it might be on purpose, but it's hard to tell like who
Yeah.
it is.
But I do remember that Discovery also did this very same thing.
Yeah, it did.
Without the titles, it did release before Discovery came out. They did release the theme song, so this is pretty standard for them. So,
I think it's actually for all the shows. I mean, in the Alex Kurtzman era, they'll tease the opening before it comes out.
Yeah. So
it's a very common thing actually just nowadays.
Maybe they're doing this because they're going to show us the Strange New Worlds theme opening.
I mean, honestly, I just
Day.
need like a teaser. Like I don't need the full opening sequence. I want like a teaser.
Yeah,
like
I think it's pretty obvious from their marketing that we're going to see a lot about Strange New Worlds and probably meet the rest of the cast as well on Star Trek Day next week. So I think that'll be exciting to see that. And I believe, I'm
by the way, did you hear that? I didn't realize this. It's going to be live. It's a live panel versus like pre-recorded.
Well, all right. I heard the same thing and I am skeptical at best about that.
Really? But it's like there's an in-person event.
There's an in-person part of this?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
How did we
not get according to
this?
When I listened to the Trek movie podcast, one of them was going.
So. Oh, wow. Yeah. How come we don't get invited to these things?
Well, we're not Trek movie, so
no,
they've been around for a lot longer.
True. Okay, well that I didn't know. I thought it was just like another day.
I didn't know that either until he mentioned that he was going. Well, he was like thinking about going, and the co-host was like, "Yes, you should go."
Yeah. I mean, if I get invited to go, I'm gonna figure it out and go somehow. However, I need to figure it out.
I mean, I wouldn't go to Vegas again just for this, but
I mean, who knows? I would for this. I would go anywhere for this.
Wow, goodness.
Because you don't get invited to. It's not. You can't say no one time and then expect to get invited again. It's that whole thing. But anyway.
I didn't know
it's
neither here nor there because neither of us got invited, so it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. You're right.
It doesn't matter.
It's irrelevant.
Yes, completely irrelevant.
But so I didn't know it was going to be live like that. I assumed that they were going to do what they did last year and have all these pre-recorded panels. So that is interesting. And definitely something different. So yeah, that's exciting. So I don't know. I'm working that next Wednesday and have multiple things going on. So
I'm not gonna watch it live. Are you crazy?
I don't see how that's gonna work. But anyway. So that's happening next week. So we've seen the Prodigy one, so hopefully we'll see a bunch of Strange New Worlds, and maybe they'll give us a schedule for what's coming next.
That would be nice. It's already like we've seen 3 episodes of Lower Decks, so we're literally 7 weeks away from whatever's next. So what is next?
Well, I think it's a good chance that Prodigy is going to be next.
I think so, but it just hasn't been set in stone yet. So it's all right, let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm really surprised that they're not marketing this as 23 or 43 weeks.
I know. I was saying that too. I guess I would imagine that they weren't confident enough about the schedule, perhaps, to kind of sell it that way. Maybe there are too many things in flux with post-production and retaping or last minute whatever
that's
for
true.
Discovery. So maybe there's just more up in the air.
I mean, the goal has always been and I'm pretty sure that this is a Kurtzman quote, is to have Star Trek on 52 weeks a year. So I think they're slowly working towards that and figuring out how they can just about approximate that, which between 5 series they should be able to do. So but then they need to also, as as like Picard wraps up, they need to have something ready to kind of fill that void. So
Right.
it's a machine now. And
I know.
on a side note, so I've been spending a little bit more time on Twitter. God help me.
Okay.
And I did see a tweet, and I don't remember who said it or anything, but being a huge Lego fan, one of the things that I've always wished for, and this tweet was about, how come they never made Star Trek Legos? And so, again, this is part of what we've talked about before on how we were talking about Paramount Plus, remember?
Yeah.
And we were saying that they have all this money, but they've never
They suck.
they've never really done a lot with Star Wars toys, for instance, in comparison to the other major franchise out there, the Star Wars franchise. Star Trek has never really paralleled it in terms of toys and other outlets, and just expanded expanded themselves. And so we were talking about Paramount Plus because the app really does blow.
Not the best. It's suboptimal. It sucks.
Yeah, when you get a fatal error on a Next Generation episode that you're trying
It's
to
pretty
watch,
bad.
Wait,
I shared it with you. I don't know if I shared it on the podcast, but I definitely shared it with you. Remember, I said that I was watching Evil, one of the Paramount Plus exclusives.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I was streaming on my Chromecast, and all of a sudden,
it just stopped.
The accessibility options just turned on, and I started hearing a third voice. There were two characters in the scene, and a third voice started describing what the characters were doing. And I was like, what is happening? I was like, is this part of it? And I was like, wait, this is, I think, for blind people. So I was like going into the app. I was trying to disable it. I couldn't.
Right.
I restarted the app, reconnected my Chromecast, restarted the episode at that moment. It kept on going. And then I was like, you know what? I can't do this. So I literally watched the rest of the episode on my phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what is that? That's ridiculous.
It really is. I mean, with the amount of money that Paramount has we called it out right from the beginning. I mean, the Paramount Plus app was just a rebranding of the CBS All Access app.
Yeah, really. It was. It was so terrible.
And, I haven't seen a ton of new features or things added to it to make it any better whatsoever. So
I hope they're going to relaunch it because it's pretty janky right now.
I hope that they do come up with a new version and make it a little smoother, but for sure. I mean, it's just a mess. It really is. But anyway, going back to what I was saying is I saw a tweet about how come they never made any Star Trek Legos. Mm-hmm. I would agree with that. Like, that's one of the areas another area that, Paramount missed out on, CBS missed out on. Like, why wouldn't you want to partner with the number one toy company in the world?
No. Well, I mean, we don't know details. I mean, did Lego not want to partner with Paramount CBS? Who knows?
I don't know. I mean, maybe. I mean, it could possibly be, but based upon other decisions that the franchise owners have made, I would say that it's been more their fault than
who
Legos.
do they have a partner with? Is it like Playmobil or something?
Well, yeah. So they're doing the Playmobil Enterprise, which is like these big. These are not minifigure size.
No,
these
there's
are
like
big,
the janky Lego. Yeah.
I mean, it's like
they have the partnership with Playmobil.
Yeah.
Not the same. Hashtag not the same.
Yeah, not made really for adults.
But I don't think they can do both Playmobil and Lego.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. But anyway, definitely something that is missing.
We basically have notes, you're saying.
I have notes.
We have feedback.
I've had feedback for a long time. Why wouldn't you model what Star Wars did with Kenner and with all of the licenses? Why wouldn't you model that as a moneymaker? I mean, this is why George Lucas is a billionaire. Like, these are the things that these are the decisions that I don't understand about Paramount / CBS have made in the past and continue to make with a horrible app that crashes and has fatal errors on a 35-year-old episode that you're trying to watch.
I don't understand.
Anyway, but we've talked a lot about Star Trek, but what else have you been Star Trekking this week?
Yeah, well, I haven't really been watching that much in terms of episodic content, but last week's episode where we talked a little bit about Boimler and how he enjoys the escapades of the Enterprise D cast and the occasional 10 forward string quartet, it made me like seek out all these moments where mostly featuring Data, to be honest, but occasional guest stars where we basically get some sort of classical music performance. Like the thing about TNG, which is really interesting if you're to compare it to something like Discovery. Discovery, and I don't know if it's like the cultural appetite or something like that, but you know, like Discovery, that one episode in season 1, Magic to Make the Man Go Mad, they're having a party in the mess hall, and it's pop music, and you know, it's very modern. While, and I don't know, maybe it's a licensing thing or what, but you have TNG, they're reenacting Shakespeare in the holodeck. They're having, you know, classical music in 10 forward. I don't know, you know, like I'm actually very old school, so sometimes I like stuff like that. I'm like, oh, it's so cultured, you know, versus the pop music, the 21st century style pop music. I'm kind of like, it almost puts me like, it brings me out of the moment because it's too contemporary in some ways. So whereas Shakespeare and classical music in many senses is almost timeless. So I'm like, I wonder if they like made that conscious decision to like feature a lot of classical music and like Shakespeare or Dixon Hill or whatever, versus like trying to contemporize it. But in any case, now I'm going off on a tangent. In any case, I've been fixated and obsessed with some of these like performances, and I've been critiquing them. So we talked about this last week very briefly, Sarek, where we have Data, his part of a string quartet. It's like Mozart night. So I've been obsessing over that and been seeking out the songs. One of them is Brahms, one's Mozart, one is a Brahms piece. Season 6, Lessons with Nella Darren, who is Picard's love interest. Well, I thought we talked about this once. Love Nella Darren. She's fantastic. She's Picard's equal, even though she's just a commander. But from intelligence standpoint, cultural standpoint, she gets him, and they fit so well together, which really makes that episode tick. But you have her performing as part of a Chopin trio with Data and this rando. So it's great. It's great. And then also Inheritance season 7, where surprise visit from Data's mom, Juliana Sung. You find out that she's an android by the end, but throughout the course of the episode, you have her bonding with Data through music, obviously through a shared experience and trauma, sure, but also through their love of music, where Data is practicing for this violin duet with who I don't know, but she's like, oh, I know this piece. Let me replicate a viola. Okay. And then they like practice together, and it's great. So that is a Handel piece, which I've also obsessed about before. I'm happy to put references to all the actual pieces in our show notes, just so everyone knows. But yeah, I'm like, oh, I feel, you know, I'm like digging into it, and I don't know, it's just something that I've been very obsessed with this week. So in any case, that's my diatribe.
All inspired by my watching of Sarek a couple of weeks ago.
Well, but then also,
also
the second episode of Lower Decks, where Boimler is like, I would love to be part of a string quartet. You know, that would be amazing. And I was like, exactly, I would love to be part of a string quartet. You know, that would be so cool. In 10 forward, talent show, let's go. So
there we go.
So yeah, I've been focusing on those 3 moments and those 3 episodes, but I'm sure there's more. I just don't know what they are. I'll have to like hunt them down. Anyway, what have you been Star Trekking this week, Mike?
I did I've been going back and watching some select next gen episodes that sort of have been referenced in Lower Decks. So
okay.
I did watch Second Chances with
Okay.
Thomas Riker, which was very good. Still amazed, that was an amazing performance by Jonathan Frakes to just play both a younger self but also an older, mature the character who he embodies. So it's definitely enjoyable, and obviously that was referenced to in the second episode of Lower Decks. So I watched that.
Yes, very much.
That was also the collector's episode, so I also watched
okay.
The Most Toys.
Yes,
and
yes.
That's when I also ended up watching Sarek, because that came right after The Most
Oh,
Toys.
Sarek's so good.
So I've just been watching that, and then right before we recorded, I just randomly heard on another podcast, actually, on our network, Drawn to Trek was talking about, and Aaron Harvey mentioned the final episode of the animated series, which I kind of thought would be the one with Spock 2, which it wasn't, but so I ended up watching that right before we recorded, and just feeling like a kid growing up. Obviously it's a 70s cartoon, so
that is one adventure that I have yet to embark on.
It's just kind of like I grew up watching Saturday morning cartoons.
I'm seeing, so did I, but then
Scooby-Doo
nowadays they look so janky.
Oh yeah, no, the kids these days don't have that. They have Netflix and whatnot to watch and whatnot. But we had Saturday morning cartoons, Super Friends and Scooby-Doo and all of those, and this has definitely has the vibe of that era of and it also had Robert April, who was the first commander of Enterprise according to history anyway.
I can't picture any of this because I haven't watched it at all.
No, so there's that. And then I did mention before I read the latest Rogue Elements Star Trek Picard novel.
Right.
Which was really good as well, about Rios and Cristobal Rios. So, which was also really enjoyable. And it also had the collector Faja in it as well. So that was also another impetus to kind of go and watch The Most Toys again. That's pretty much all I've been dabbling in a bunch of different, jumping around on different series and things outside of Star Trek, but those are the things that I've been watching in the Star Trek universe. So that's pretty much it.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching a little bit more just random TV shows, and it's just good distraction while I'm cooking or just trying to chill out. And I had my first weekend off, like no work this past weekend.
That's right. Yeah, I was able to relax.
So I was able to relax and kind of do just have some downtime. So I was watching a bunch of different things. So well, why don't we get into Lower Decks and talk about episode 3.
Tendi, you gotta warn me if we're gonna be meeting up with a sexy bad boy. That's my type. Well, one of my types.
You have a thing for bad boys?
Oh, I'm always dating bad boys. Bad girls, bad gender non-binary babes, ruthless alien masterminds, bad binars.
I don't know if I've ever seen you date anyone. You usually seem to be with Boimler.
What? Ew! No! What? Ew, that is so messed up.
What? I don't know. You guys practically sleep in the same bunk.
Ew, we do not! Ew! He's like a pet! Yuck! What? Are you and Rutherford dating?
Not really.
Cousin?
Biceps.
You shouldn't be here. If the Syndicate catches me talking to
You'll do what I tell you to do, you dumb-faced jerk!
Holy crap, who are you right now?
It's an Orion thing. It actually makes me really uncomfortable. Donnie, I have a piece of loot I need you to repair. It has to look like it was never broken in order to rip someone off.
anything for you, Mistress of the Winter Constellations.
Mistress of the Winter Constellation? What? Okay, you gotta do this on the Cerritos.
Don't tell anyone. That's a name I left behind long ago.
I'll try, but it's... Oh, crap.
Devana, what is this? Is she an imposter?
Shut up and do your job!
Devana? Is that some other weird title you've got?
It's my name.
Oh.
What, you don't even know my first name?
I thought it was Tendi, like, with no last name, like Odo.
We have been working together for over a year, Beckett.
Well, now you're just showing off.
And I am going to say right off the bat about episode 3 is that I am so happy that the band is back together again.
Yes, totally. It makes a big difference, for sure.
But we'll always have Tom Paris also brings a little voy to LD, as it were.
I don't know if that rolls off. I don't know if any rolls off the tongue. Yeah, I really like this episode. I definitely think, to your point, having everyone back together makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
But what I really liked about this episode is that they switched up. It's like they heard me complaining when we were watching
you and all the other fans.
And I was like, why do Mariner and Boimler always have to be together? And why do Tendi and Rutherford always have to be together? It was like too much. So it's like they heard us and they were like, let's switch it up. And it got a little meta. And they were like, we don't know each other at all. I just thought that was like probably my favorite out of the 3 storylines. That was my favorite, because it just gave them a chance to discover each other. We discovered a lot about them. There's a little bit of mystery to Tendi, which I want to know more about. So there's a lot of that I thought worked really well in this episode.
Mistress of the Winter Constellation.
Yeah, I was like, what? So ridiculous. But it was very interesting. That was definitely like one of my favorite parts of this episode, just seeing them on a girls' trip. Girls' trip. And for them to come to the realization that they really don't know each other at all.
Yeah, no, it was good. And I like the heart-to-heart at the end where they sort of come clean about why they're like that, why they probably didn't know a lot about each other. And, you know, Mariner says that she has lost a lot of people leave her life for various reasons. I mean, we've seen the flashback to Deep Space Nine, which again was referenced this week as well, because she stole Commander Worf's Batleth or something.
Macleth. She like broke it or something. And
she needed it fixed. Yeah. So that's kind of interesting that she was on the station at the same time as Commander Worf. What else? And then Tendi basically said that, you know, she's I don't know. What did she say? Did she say she's trying to forget a lot of her past, or trying to break
I actually don't remember either. Oh no. Poor Tendi.
I think she was trying to break free of all of the biases against Orion. So she was kind of trying to leave that behind a little bit. Yeah. So
I think I was multitasking when we got to her sharing, which is sad.
Yeah, but somehow I missed that. But
I don't know why I missed that. But I really, Tendi is just adorable. I love her. She is totally OCD. She's very neurotic in her own way. And we've talked about this where I relate to her in a certain way, because similar to how Boimler can be very neurotic about certain things, she's also, I mean, they're all actually kind of neurotic about things other than Mariner, really. They all have very specific neuroses and fixations, but I totally adore Tendi. She's so sweet. And the fact that she has this checkered past maybe, that we haven't really delved into yet, just makes it more interesting for me.
Definitely does. They had quite some adventures. It reminded me a lot of when Mariner and Boimler took the Klingon to the planet and went through all of the different areas, the Klingon Bazaar and then the Andorians. Like, it had that same sort of adventure feel to it, which was really fun to see. So that was probably the main story point of this episode, was that. And it all started because Tiana wanted a box, which I was like,
okay, all right, it's cute, but why?
Yeah,
Personally.
I was too, and even the ending I didn't get the ending until the second viewing, and I think I read something somewhere about how, and I'm more of a dog person. I've had cats before, but a long, long time ago. But I forgot that cats love boxes and
Oh my
bags.
gosh, do you not see cat videos on your Instagram?
No, I do not. I do not follow
Okay,
any cat.
well, I do,
So
and I can definitely attest that
you got
cats
it on the
love
first
boxes.
watch.
Cats, yes, of course, cats love
Yeah,
boxes.
no, I
And then
didn't.
even big cats love boxes because I've seen videos where it will be at a zoo and they will bring out this huge cardboard box for the tigers and they love it. So it's
Wow,
just
I've
really
never
funny.
seen that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't get that didn't hit land with me on the first viewing. So
Well,
yeah,
you missed
but
out.
yeah, I did miss out. So
One other thing that I think would be relevant for us to discuss is it seems that this episode verified that Mariner is pansexual. She basically is up for anyone, including binars. So I was like, okay.
bad binars, gender non-conforming
Yeah.
babes, bad boys, bad girls,
Wow, she doesn't
anything.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was really cool to hear as well. I think that's and also the ensuing discussion after that about I've never seen you with anyone except Boimler.
Right.
And
And she's like, no, he's like a pet.
yeah, he's like a
Poor
pet. She's like,
Boimler.
ew, he's like a pet.
But she was into the Orion cousin.
Yeah. I mean, as far as Orions go, that would be an Orion daddy right there. With the big
Definitely a
biceps
daddy.
and the finely trimmed white
Facial hair.
beard. Yes,
I'm
it
not
was.
really into facial hair, I have to say.
I mean, I'm not either, but there is
It's
this,
not really my
piece
thing.
of culture that the LGBT culture around this, so it was kind of interesting.
I understand.
Yeah, so there was that. Yeah, that was totally great to hear, and a real, a nice shout out. I think once again, Star Trek just opening people's minds and pushing bounds a little bit.
Yeah. And it wasn't.
It wasn't
I
in
like
your
that. It wasn't
face.
so in your face. It was just like,
Right.
That's just
Yeah.
part of who I am, and no big deal.
Yeah.
And I did like that. That it's just kind of part of her personality,
Right.
and part of her preferences and whatever, and they didn't make a big deal of it, which I liked.
Yeah, I did too. So that was the major storyline of the episode. And then we had these two other things, obviously. So in the opening sequence, I mean, I'm as shocked.
Oh my gosh.
I'm as shocked as Rutherford is. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you were like, we were on Slack and you were like, oh, there's one other surprise. I was like, oh, because you watched it before I did. And I started the episode and I was like, excuse me?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a what the F moment. And to be fair, they didn't change the only thing that changed in the opening sequence of Lower Decks was that the Pakleds were part of the Romulan Borg battle. But
Right.
Fred Tradasciore, his name has never been removed, and he plays Shaxs. He voices Shaxs, and so it's kind of interesting. I guess we all could have been like, oh, what, what's he still doing on the opening credits? Maybe Shaxs.
I think I mentioned this, but sometimes they do have actors do different roles.
Other voices, yeah, sure.
Especially voice acting. So that's what I thought it was, but
clearly it's not. So we had that shock, and then Rutherford, speaking of obsessive compulsive behavior, just couldn't let it go. I mean, I understand because Rutherford carries a lot of guilt around being the cause of Shaxs' death. So I've heard, I can understand that, and I've heard that people have tweeted at Mike McMahon and said, what the heck? Like, why is Shaxs back? And to be honest, I'm in the camp that while I like Shaxs as a character, I'm in the camp that it sort of takes away from last season's finale a little bit.
Right. No, I agree,
it
because
diminishes
it's
that a
basically
little
like
bit.
everything's back to status quo.
Yeah.
Because everyone's back, including Shaxs. So
and we have this new security officer, Kazon, who we met last week.
Where did he go?
Where did he go? So so there's that part of it too. So who knows?
I did like all the little references when Rutherford was trying to figure out why he was back, and you had all like mirror universe reference, the Nexus, a Dyson sphere, the Borg, like it. There's so many ways.
Mariner,
Genesis device, of course.
Yep. Mariner and Boimler listed off almost every way that a main character has come back to life. So yeah, it's definitely it's understandable, but it's also frustrating because you're like, we saw Shaxs die heroically, mind you.
Yeah,
saving Rutherford, and
I don't think he needed to come back. I mean, I liked him as well, but I think I mentioned it when we were talking about the finale of season 1. It also, I don't think it really, I didn't really have much of an emotional reaction to his death, because I don't feel I really got to know him as a character.
Sure.
So I was like, all right, he's back. That's fine. I didn't really miss him.
No, I didn't miss him either. And the whole point is that lower deckers do not know all of the reasons, all of the details of missions and things that happen,
which does speak back to the TNG lower decks. We have all these things happening. And everyone has like bits and pieces of it.
Exactly.
It actually made me want to rewatch the TNG episode, but it's like there's a lot going on and we know nothing. We're like not supposed to say anything.
They were all under orders not to say anything, and so it was it's interesting. So I think that it's the whole point is, again, that lower deckers don't know what's going on, and so I don't think we're ever going to get an answer to how he returned,
which is
but it does sort of bring up some questions about, we got a new security officer last week. What happens to him? So there are those sort of interesting pieces. So that's the second storyline. I don't know if that's I don't know if that's the B or the C storyline, but
I would categorize that as C, only because Tom Paris is part of Boimler's storyline, and literally the title is "We'll always have Tom Paris."
So that's the C plot.
That ended up being the B storyline. One.
So then we have Boimler back and having trouble because the computer doesn't recognize him because of the increased security due to the Packlids. So I don't know. I was annoyed for Boimler. I'm like, come on, this is the 25th century almost. Like, you can't get your shit together and put a person back into the computer. I mean, obviously,
there are still going to be IT problems in the 25th century.
Apparently.
24th century. This is still 24th.
It is, the late 24th century. So, there are still IT problems, and apparently Billups is the IT manager, right? The chief engineer, I guess. So, but the one big thing that I think everybody calls out is that Boimler is in the Jeffries tubes above the bridge.
Right. Yeah. When I first watched it, I feel part of my mind registered it and thought it was odd, but I didn't process it because you immediately get the scene where Tom Paris thinks that Boimler is a Kazon, and that I cracked up. That was so ridiculous. And they started having a fist fight. I was cracking up. So it wasn't until I didn't really register it until I started hearing people talking about it, and I was like, "Oh, that's right. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense." But
it's really the only way that it makes sense from a story standpoint that he would fall from the ceiling,
I guess.
And, but anyway, so we have a little bit of Tom Paris in this episode. Obviously, the plate
I wanted more of Tom Paris, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's there to serve the primary characters, but I would have liked a little bit more of him.
Yeah, I mean he's there for the the senior officers. He's really not there for the ensigns. But I guess that Boimler and he are gonna have a drink, and maybe he'll sign Boimler's plate.
I love that he has plates for every single cast member or the entire senior staff.
Yes, a boy.
That was really great.
Yes, that was a little interesting. I wonder how long. Well, we've only seen the Tom Paris one, which is interesting, but I wonder how long it'll be before we see plates from all of the other Voyager cast.
So funny, so funny.
So Boimler's back on his own adventure, having his own struggles with Cerritos, talking to a plate, being zapped and fumes and everything.
And crying. I think there was some crying.
Probably. A lot of screaming.
There was definitely a screaming, and I think the crying was when he was a little bit high and he was like, "Do I exist?" or something.
Yeah.
It was
I think that's when he started
dramatic.
Talking to the plate at that point was the fumes.
It's so dramatic. It's so bright.
Yeah, it was good. So the group is back together again. Different storylines for all three. I mean, this feels like one of the first episodes where we've had 3 different plot lines kind of weaved together.
It is a little bit much, like 3 plot lines for 25 minutes. It is a lot. It felt fine to me, but I think I heard a few other folks say that if it was a lot packed in, which I understand, it is a lot.
It is a lot, yeah, I would agree. But they did well with it. I don't think it didn't feel.
No, yeah,
it didn't feel bad at any point, So I think that they did a really good job with it. But hopefully, we don't try to do that every week going forward. And no preview for this week. Something about a Mugatu. Something is the only thing I've seen.
I saw the title. I was like, I don't know what this is supposed to mean.
So that drops tomorrow. So we'll talk about that next week. But I would say that this is my favorite episode of season 2 so far.
I agree. Yeah, it was my favorite.
Yeah. I felt that the first 2 episodes were good, but they were missing this, and what they were missing was the crew being lower deckers on the Cerritos and having their own adventures, and apparently ever since this season, Mariner's going to spend a lot of time in the brig. Apparently, I mean, she might as well move her bunk into the brig at this point.
Know.
But I did love her parting shot to Ransom. Put the bee in the brig.
Yeah,
this imaginary bee that she creates to give Tendi a better story for her, for the reason why the unnecessary scratching post.
I know. Whatever. It was still cute.
It was cute. Yeah. So I'm happy with this episode. Definitely my favorite from this season so far, and I hope it keeps on going back. But I do have to say I'm a little concerned just about a complete reset back to the beginning of season 1.
I agree. I mean, it works. It's obviously, I feel the reason why they went back to it is because it is a formula that works. But I'm also kind of like, I kind of want it to have I guess I want it both ways. I want things to change and for things to be shaken up. But at the same time, if they are shaken up too much, it displeases me. So I don't know what I want. I mean,
yeah.
So I don't know. It did bother me too, but at the same time, because I enjoyed the episode, it didn't bother me that much.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll have to see how the next episode or 2 goes and see what they're doing with these characters this season. After all of this has kind of, after what I consider the dust has been settled, and Boimler now has access to the ship, and
Shaxs is back.
Shaxs is back, and we have Kazon, or we don't have Kazon. Who the heck knows?
I don't.
But anyway, it'll be interesting to see where
maybe he died. You wouldn't even know.
Oh yeah, maybe we don't even know what happened. We'll never know what. Maybe we'll just like we don't know how Shaxs came back. We'll never know what happened to Kazon again.
Yeah.
Who knows? Although Kazon is now famous in the realm of collectibles, becoming this teddy bear.
Yes.
So we'll always have Kazon, apparently.
We'll always have Kazon. Correct.
So, well, I think that's a good place to end for this week's episode of of that.
Cool.
Do you want to tell our viewers how they can get in touch with us, and then I'll.
Do you want to tell them about our sponsor?
Oh, of course, yes. Well, Fansets is our sponsor, as everyone here knows. We love Fansets, and actually, right now, as of right now, Fansets is on a little bit of a break. They are
on hiatus.
They're on a hiatus. I believe it's Lou's daughter is getting married, so they are taking a break this week. So there'll be no orders shipped out, but there are tons of new pins available, and more coming soon. Let me see if I can find the list of all the awesome pins. I mean, I picked up a few at not Star Trek Las Vegas. And
oh my god, I have a bug bite. I just noticed. Oh, it's over. I hate mosquito bites.
Oh, I do too.
It's terrible.
Mosquitoes are the worst.
This is what happens when you go outside. It's like
I mean, you could have brought him inside. Maybe he's inside with you.
No, I think it's from yesterday. It takes 12 to 24 hours for my bites to start inflaming.
Oh, okay.
just so you know.
Thank you.
And
Dr.
for
Johnson.
all our listeners that are interested in my skin reaction to
great.
Anyway, continue.
So anyway, so we've got a bunch of new micro pins coming out. So there's Dr. Pulaski, Rin, Garan, and General Martok. They're already out. Coming soon are Guinan, Admiral Vance, Season 3 Captain Burnham, Jet Reno, which I did not see, and I'm excited
Jet Reno!
I
cool.
know. I'm gonna have to get Jet Reno to add to my collection. Vic Fontaine, your favorite.
Oh, I hate Vic Fontaine.
Yes, we know.
Oh yeah, we forgot to talk about it. There was like the random Easter eggs. Vic Fontaine.
Oh yeah,
Vic Fontaine sign on Quailor 2.
Yeah, Quailor 2. Quarks and the Zebulon.
I saw Vic Fontaine. I got like
yeah.
I was triggered.
Yeah, you were. Yes, I got a text. Also available from Star Trek 4, Dr. Gillian Taylor and Admiral Kirk in his maroon uniform, which has always been my favorite uniform. We'll have to see how the Discovery Season 4 uniform looks, but
the maroon one?
The maroon one from Star Trek 2 to Star Trek 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And actually Generations too. So those are all coming out in the near future, so look for those. And if you go to fansets.com, put a bunch of pins in your cart. If you get even just a handful of these, you're going to have more than $30 in your cart, and you'll get free shipping in the US, and then add the code DS Pride, all caps. And you'll get 10% off your order. So we want to give a huge shout out to Lou and John and the gang at Fansets who sponsor Deep Space Pride and the Trek Geeks Podcast Network.
Thanks, Fansets.
And now, how do our listeners get in touch with us?
Yeah, well, you can all reach us on social media, on Twitter, Instagram. Our handles there are at Deep Space Pride. Or you can email us at deepspacepride@gmail.com.
There we go.
Cool.
Well, next week we'll be back to talk about Mugatu Gugatu or whatever episode.
I don't know.
Maybe we'll take a trip to Deanna's office. You're going to Chicago, so you might have some things to report.
That's right. I'm going to Chicago for Labor Day weekend. I'm going to go see a friend of mine that lives there. He used to live in New York, but he moved to Chicago. And we're going to be spending a few days together, so it should be fun.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for listening, and we'll see you all again next week.
Bye.
Space Pride is a production of Coconut Media Works. Executive producers Bill Smith and Dan Davidson. For more great Star Trek discussion, discover the other shows of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network at trekgeeks.com or find us in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app.
Coconut.